Hello, John from Peter Tyson. Today we're diving deep into a topic that sparks a lot of debate and passion. Stand-mounted speakers versus floor-standing speakers. It can be a minefield if you're starting out new or thinking of upgrading your system. But beyond the obvious size difference, what truly sets these two speaker types apart? And more importantly, which one is going to give you the best listening experience? First up, we have the often underestimated stand-mounted speakers, sometimes called bookshelf speakers. I'm classing these as any speaker that requires a stand or piece of furniture to raise the tweeters to ear level when you're sat in front of them. Although often referred to as bookshelf speakers, they will generally sound much better placed on dedicated speaker stands. So, pros first. 1. Precision and imaging. Because of their smaller cabinet size, stand-mounted speakers are often lauded for their incredible imaging and soundstage. They can just disappear into a room, creating a holographic sound experience where you can pinpoint instruments with startling accuracy. Think of it like a finely tuned scalpel for sound. 2. Room compatibility. They are far more forgiving in smaller or acoustically challenging rooms. Less cabinet volume means less bass interaction with your room's boundaries, which can often lead to a cleaner, tighter bass response without booming or muddiness. They're also better suited for near-field listening. Small powered speakers can be ideal for your desk. 3. Flexibility and upgrade path. They're easier to move around and experiment with placement. And if you want deeper bass extension later down the line, you can add a dedicated subwoofer, creating a hybrid system that can outperform many similarly priced floor standers in overall bandwidth and impact. 4. Aesthetics. For many, their compact footprint is just visually more appealing, especially in smaller or modern minimalist spaces. They just don't dominate the room. But there is always a compromise. Number 1. Bass extension. This is the most obvious one really. Whilst good quality, well set up stand mounted speakers can deliver surprisingly deep bass, they generally can't match the raw extension, impact and presence of a larger floor standing speaker, especially when you're reaching below 50 Hz. If you're a bass head and don't plan on getting a sub, this may be a consideration. Talking of subwoofers, like any hi-fi component, they are only as good as their setup. It's not just a case of plonking one in the corner and cranking it to 11. Placement in your room and setting its controls to integrate it properly with your main stereo speakers is a bit of an art form. The additional cabling and setup time should be a consideration if you want to go down this route. 3. System cost. Factor in some dedicated stands. High quality stands can add a significant chunk to your budget, and if you need a subwoofer, that's another investment again. 4. Dynamic headroom. While they can play loud enough for most living situations, they typically have less dynamic headroom than a multi-driver floor standing speaker. This means they might compress or struggle to maintain their composure at high volumes or with extremely dynamic or complex music, particularly in larger rooms when pushed. The further you sit away from your speakers, the harder your hi-fi has to work to achieve that same sound pressure level. Now, let's talk about the undisputed heavyweights, floor standing speakers. These are designed to be more of a complete full range solution right out of the box. Their strengths are indeed mighty. 1. Full range performance. This is their bread and butter, often but not always with multiple drivers, usually dedicated tweeter, mid-range and one or more woofers. They can deliver more of a full range sound with effortless bass extension down to much lower octaves. For movies, gaming or music genres with deep bass like electronic, hip hop or orchestral, they can provide that visceral impact. 2. Dynamic power and scale. Larger cabinet volume and more drivers means they are often more efficient at turning watts from your amplifier into sound. They can often move a lot more air too. This translates to greater dynamic impact and a sense of scale that smaller speakers often can't replicate. You feel the music in your chest, not just hear it. They excel at higher volumes without sounding strained. Running any hi-fi component to full capacity is generally a bad idea, but it's nice to have plenty in reserve to avoid overheating, clipping and distortion. 3. Simplicity. It's often a one-box solution. You don't need to worry about buying dedicated stands or adding subwoofers later on, unless you're setting up a dedicated home cinema system or something quite specialist. Just place them, connect and enjoy. 4. Visual presence. For some, the imposing presence of a floor standing speaker is part of the appeal. They can be a statement piece in a room, reflecting a passion for audio. I personally prefer the look of a floor standing speaker over a set of speaker stands in most situations. But with great power comes some potential issues. 1. Room interaction. Their extended base can be a double-edged sword. In untreated or smaller rooms, that powerful base can easily become boomy, muddy and just overwhelming, leading to a less defined sound that gets just boring very quickly. Room acoustics become that much more critical. 2. Size and aesthetics. They are often much larger. They can take up significant floor space and visually dominate a room, which might not fit everyone's aesthetic or living situation. Moving them around for optimal placement is also much more of a chore due to their added size and weight. 3. The cost. Generally, floor standing speakers are more expensive than their stand mounted counterparts, especially when comparing similar levels of quality and driver technology. Makes sense. There's just more to them. 4. Placement sensitivity. While they will fill a room with sound really easily, getting their placement just right can be more challenging due to their bass output and interaction with boundary walls. Like I said before, a hi-fi is only ever as good as its setup. Then, just to throw a spanner in the works, there are the sort of in-betweeny speakers. Much larger stand mount speakers like, for example, the Wharfedale Super Linton, have a bigger footprint than the compact floor standards like Darley Oberon 5, PMC Prodigy 5 and Monitor Audio Silver 200, all of which have characteristics of both types of speaker. Like a halfway house. With the right source equipment and setup, all of these can sound truly excellent. So, which is right for you? Well, it really boils down to these few questions. 1. Your room size. If you're in a smaller room, a good pair of stand-mounted speakers, with or without a subwoofer, will likely integrate better and sound cleaner than overwhelming your space with large towers. For medium to larger rooms, floor standers will really shine. 2. Your listening habits. Are you a casual listener, or do you crave that chest-thumping bass for movies and music? If deep, impactful bass is non-negotiable without a separate sub, floor standers might be the way to go. If you prioritise precision imaging and perhaps a more refined detailed sound, stand-mounted speakers might be more your speed. 3. Your amplifier. Very large or multi-driver loudspeakers in either category can be more demanding to drive and will require more capable amplification to perform at their best. Don't get too hung up on watts per channel. There are many ways to measure a watt, and more doesn't necessarily mean better. That's a whole video by itself. Take advice on suitable amplification for your chosen loudspeakers. 4. Your budget. Remember to factor in stands and a potential subwoofer if you go down the stand mounted route. Sometimes a floor standing speaker can be more cost effective, complete solution if you don't need a sub. 5. Aesthetics. Be honest with yourself and your living space. Which type of speaker complements your home's decor and your lifestyle? At the end of the day, they are pieces of furniture themselves and they have to look right in your home. The truth is, both types of speaker can offer incredible performance. A high quality stand mounted speaker can absolutely blow away a mediocre floor standing speaker, and vice versa. Also, your room, how your speakers are positioned, your amplifier and source equipment play the biggest part in what you hear. The speakers are right at the end of the chain. The best speakers in the world can't put back what was never there in the first place at the start of the chain. Ultimately, the best advice I can give to you is just go and listen. Take your favourite music with you and audition different types of speakers. Hear them in person, feel the differences, take advice, and reviews can be helpful, but ultimately, trust your ears. It's you that has to listen to your system, regardless of what anyone else thinks. So, I hope this breakdown has helped you on your speaker journey. Let me know in the comments below, are you team stand mounted or team floor standing, and why? Thanks for watching and happy listening. You'll see me in the next video. Take care.